Imagine a world where the streets were lit at night, while the rest of Europe walked in darkness. A world where books were more valuable than gold, where doctors performed surgeries centuries ahead of their time, and where 3 different religions lived together. Not in peace always, but in something far more rare: understanding. Now imagine that this world existed for nearly 800 years in what we now call Spain and Portugal. And then it vanished, not destroyed in a single war, not lost overnight, but slowly erased, piece by piece, until it became a footnote in history. This is the story of Al-Andalus, the Muslim Spain and Portugal. The world forgot. Before we begin, forget everything you think you know about medieval Europe, because while much of Europe struggled with instability, disease, and limited knowledge, there was a place where science thrived, where poetry filled the air, and where cities became symbols of human achievement. This wasn't a myth, this was real. This was Al-Andalus. The story begins with a crossing, a dangerous one. In 711 AD, a Berber general named Tariq ibn Ziyad stood at the edge of North Africa, staring across a narrow stretch of water. On the other side, a powerful kingdom, the Visigoths. Tariq didn't have a massive army. He had around 7,000 men. No guarantee of victory, no backup plan, just belief and strategy. When his men landed, legend says he ordered the ships to be burned. No escape, no retreat, only one direction: forward. His words became legendary. Behind you is the sea. Before you, the enemy. What followed was one of the most unexpected victories in history. Within just a few years, the Visigothic kingdom collapsed. City after city fell, not always through battle, but often through negotiation. Some cities opened their gates willingly. Why? Because many people living under Visigothic rule were tired of oppression and instability. The Muslim forces offered something different: protection, religious tolerance, stability. And so, what began as a military expedition became something much bigger. The land was renamed Al-Andalus. And what followed was not just rule, it was transformation. Over time, this region evolved into one of the most advanced societies in the world. Its crown jewel, Córdoba. Córdoba was one of the largest cities on Earth. Some historians estimate nearly 1 million people, over 900 public baths, paved streets with lighting. Think about that. At a time when London and Paris were small and struggling, Córdoba was glowing at night, literally. Street lamps lined the roads. Water systems flowed through homes. People bathed regularly, while in other parts of Europe, cleanliness itself was rare. But what truly made Córdoba legendary was something else. Books. Lots of them. Córdoba alone had tens of thousands of books. Some estimates go even higher. Libraries were everywhere. Knowledge was valued like treasure. Scholars came from across the world. Muslims, Christians, Jews, all studying together. Ancient Greek texts from philosophers like Aristotle were preserved, translated, and expanded. Without Al-Andalus, much of that knowledge might have been lost forever. This land produced minds that changed history. Al-Zarawa, a pioneer in surgery, he introduced tools and techniques still used today. Ibn Rushd, Averroes, a philosopher who influenced European thinking for centuries. These weren't just scholars, they were bridges between civilizations. Their work traveled beyond Al-Andalus, shaping the future of Europe itself. Now, let's be honest. Al-Andalus wasn't a perfect utopia. There were tensions, there were conflicts. But compared to the rest of medieval Europe, it was something extraordinary. Christians and Jews lived under Muslim rule as protected communities. They paid taxes, but were allowed to practice their religion. Jewish culture in particular flourished. Some even call this period a golden age for Jewish civilization. This kind of coexistence was rare for its time. The architecture of Al-Andalus tells its own story. The Great Mosque of Cordoba, with its endless red and white arches, feels almost infinite. The Alhambra Palace in Granada is a masterpiece of geometry, water, and light. Every wall whispers art. Every detail carries meaning. These weren't just buildings, they were expressions of a civilization at its peak. But even the greatest civilizations have weaknesses. And for Al-Andalus, the biggest threat came from within. Power struggles began. Different Muslim rulers fought each other. The unity that once made Al-Andalus strong started to break. And when a civilization is divided, it becomes vulnerable. From the north, Christian kingdoms began to rise. Stronger, more organized, more determined. This was the beginning of the Reconquista, a long campaign to reclaim Iberia. It didn't happen overnight, it took centuries. But slowly, the map began to change. Muslim territories shrank. Cities that once thrived fell one by one. By the 1400s, only one Muslim kingdom remained: Granada. It was beautiful, wealthy, resilient, but surrounded. For years, it survived through diplomacy, tribute, and strategy. But in 1492, the end came. The last ruler, Boabdil, surrendered the city. As he left, he looked back at Granada, the home he lost, the legacy that ended, and he cried. His mother's words became famous. "Do not weep like a woman for what you could not defend like a man." With that moment, Al-Andalus was no more. What followed was not just political change, it was cultural destruction. Mosques were converted, books were burned, languages disappeared. Muslims and Jews faced a harsh choice: convert, leave, or suffer. An entire civilization, was systematically erased. And then something strange happened. Silence. Over time, the story of Al-Andalus faded. Not completely gone, but reduced, simplified, forgotten. Because history is often shaped by those who win. But here's the truth. Al-Andalus never truly disappeared. Its influence is everywhere, in science, in philosophy, in language. Even today, many English and European words have roots in Arabic. The Renaissance, the rebirth of Europe, was influenced by knowledge preserved in places like Al-Andalus. Al-Andalus was not perfect, but it was extraordinary. It showed what humans are capable of when knowledge is valued, when cultures interact, when ideas are allowed to grow. It also shows how fragile civilizations can be and how easily they can be forgotten. So maybe the question isn't, why did Al-Andalus fall? Maybe the real question is, why did we forget it? If this story made you think, hit subscribe. Because history isn't just about the past. It's about understanding the present, and there are many more stories the world has forgotten.